Sonya and I had been married for 8 years. We had our ups and downs like any other couple, but over the past year something had shifted. It wasn't an overnight change, it crept in slowly, subtly. The warmth, the laughter, the effortless ease between us. They all started to fade, like embers losing their glow. It began with small things, the way she pulled away when I tried to hold her, the way she seemed irritated by my presence, the way her phone became an extension of her hand, a device more deserving of her attention than I was. I tried to convince myself it was just a phase, that stress, routine, or some unspoken frustration was to blame. I told myself I just needed to put in more effort, be more attentive, show her that I still saw her, still adored her. So I tried. God, I tried. I planned surprise date nights, ones that used to make her eyes light up. Fancy restaurants, weekend getaways, quiet picnics in the park. Nothing worked. She showed up, sure, but she was distant, disengaged. Her mind was always somewhere else, and more often than not, that somewhere else was her phone. I started cooking for her, bringing back old recipes that once made her close her eyes in bliss. I spent hours perfecting her favorites, setting the table like we were in a restaurant, candles flickering between us. But she barely looked at me as she ate, barely spoke beyond a distracted thanks. I left notes for her, like I used to when we first got married, little reminders of my love, on the bathroom mirror, tucked into her purse, slipped into the book she was reading, but they disappeared without a word, like they meant nothing at all. At night I reached for her. I craved her touch, her warmth, the intimacy that once felt like second nature between us. But she stiffened beneath my hand, inching away like my touch was something foreign, unwelcome. "David, stop," she muttered one night, pulling the sheets higher. "I'm tired. Tired. Always tired. Too tired for a conversation. Too tired for affection. Too tired for me. But somehow, never too tired to be on her phone late into the night, the screen's glow illuminating her face long after I had given up and turned away. I brought up counseling, hoping, praying she'd meet me halfway, that she'd want to fight for us as much as I did. She barely even looked at me when she responded. "David, you're making a big deal out of nothing. People change." Yes, people change, but love isn't supposed to just vanish. Not without a fight. I held on, hoping, praying, until the day I discovered the truth. It was a text message that shattered the last of my illusions. One careless moment, her phone left unattended on the kitchen counter. The screen lit up, and I saw his name. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again, baby." I didn't mean to invade her privacy, but the words were right there, glaring at me. My breath caught. My stomach twisted itself into knots. My hands trembled as I picked up her phone and scrolled through their conversation. It didn't take long to see everything I needed to know. Explicit messages, plans, memories they had made together while I sat at home, wondering what went wrong. The name attached to them? Logan. That night I waited for her. I didn't pace, I didn't fume. I just sat in the dimly lit living room trying to steady the whirlwind in my chest. When she walked through the door, she barely looked at me. "Hey," she said, like I was a stranger, like I was furniture. "Who is Logan?" I asked, my voice even, though my insides burned. She stopped mid-step. I saw the flicker of panic in her eyes before she masked it. "David, it's not what you think." I scoffed, holding up her phone. "Really?" "Because it looks exactly like what I think." Her expression hardened. "Why are you going through my phone? That's an invasion of privacy." I let out a bitter laugh. "That's what you're upset about? That I found out? Not the fact that you're sneaking around behind my back?" "You had no right," she snapped, her voice rising. "Going through my messages like some jealous paranoid." "Don't turn this around on me, Sonya," I cut in, standing now, the heat rising in my chest. "You cheated, you lied, and now you want to play the victim?" Her mouth opened, then closed. She shook her head, crossing her arms, her stance defiant. David, let's be real. Things haven't been good between us for a long time. Because you made it that way. My voice cracked, my frustration bubbling over. I've tried everything, Sonya. I fought for us. I loved you. She sighed, exasperated, as if my pain was nothing more than a nuisance. I don't love you anymore, David. The words hit harder than I expected. My stomach clenched, my breath caught in my throat. You don't love me? I echoed, my voice barely above a whisper. I haven't for a long time, she admitted, her voice void of any emotion. Logan makes me feel alive. He gives me something you don't. A coldness settled in my chest. So that's it? 8 years, and you throw it all away for him? I'm leaving, David, she said. I'm going to be with Logan. I should have argued. I should have fought for us. But standing there, looking at her, I realized something. I had already lost her. So, I let her go. The days that followed were a blur. I moved through my house like a ghost, haunted by echoes of what used to be. The silence was deafening. No footsteps in the hall, no sound of her humming as she made coffee, no laughter from the living room. It was like she had never been there, and yet her absence filled every space. Her empty closet mocked me. The vacant side of the bed felt like a wound that wouldn't close. The faint trace of her perfume still clung to the pillows, tormenting me with the illusion that she might walk through the door at any moment. But she wouldn't. She had chosen someone else. Friends reached out. You'll be okay, man, they said. She didn't deserve you. I wanted to believe them, but their words felt hollow. Because deep down, I wasn't sure if they were right. Was I not enough? Had I driven her away? My mind replayed every argument, every missed opportunity, every moment I should have held on tighter. The self-doubt was suffocating. But time moved forward, even when I didn't want it to. The world didn't stop for heartbreak. I still had to go to work, even if I moved through the days in a haze. I forced myself to eat, though nothing tasted right. I started running again, pounding my frustration into the pavement until exhaustion took over. I dusted off my old guitar, playing songs that once meant something, now stripped of their warmth. I fixed things around the house, leaky faucets, broken cabinets, anything to distract myself from the thing I couldn't fix, my marriage. Slowly, I started to remember who I was before her, before my world became about saving something that was already lost. The pain didn't leave overnight, but it dulled, like an old scar that no longer ached, but never fully faded. Then, one evening, my phone buzzed. Her name flashed across the screen. Sonya. I stared at it, my stomach twisting. A part of me wanted to ignore it, to let her words disappear into the void. I owed her nothing, but curiosity, maybe even a lingering trace of something I didn't want to name. One. I answered. David, she said, her voice hesitant, uncertain. Can we talk? I exhaled, gripping the phone tighter. About what? Us. A bitter chuckle escaped me. There is no us, Sonya. You made sure of that. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, her voice wavered. I made a mistake. Logan never wanted me the way I thought he did. He used me, and when he was done, he tossed me aside. I was wrong, and I see that now. Her words should have cut me. Months ago, they would have shattered me. But now? Now they felt like confirmation of what I had already accepted. Please, David, she continued, her voice breaking. Can we try again? Can we fix this? Once upon a time, I would have given anything to hear those words. I would have welcomed her back with open arms, desperate to make things right. But that man no longer existed. I had changed too. No, Sonya, I said, my voice steady. We can't. She let out a choked sob. David, please, I sighed, pinching the bridge of my nose. You didn't want to fix us when I begged you to, I reminded her. I tried everything. I fought for us, but you walked away. You made your choice. And now, I'm making mine. I've moved on. Silence stretched between us, thick and heavy. I could hear her breathing, shaky and uneven, as if she was trying to hold herself together. The irony wasn't lost on me. How many nights had I been the one struggling to breathe, drowning in the weight of her absence? I was wrong, David, she whispered. I thought he loved me. I thought I was choosing happiness. But he never wanted me the way you did. He used me, and when he was done, he tossed me aside like I was nothing. I closed my eyes. A part of me, the part that once loved her beyond reason, should have felt sorry for her. But I didn't. There was no satisfaction in her pain, no joy in seeing her suffer. Only a quiet, unwavering certainty that this conversation was long overdue. I'm sorry, she added after a long pause. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. I know. I didn't hate her. I wasn't angry anymore. I had spent too much time drowning in bitterness, and I refused to let it define me any longer. And then I hung up. I stared at the phone for a moment, then set it down. The past, with all its hurt and regret, no longer had a hold on me. I had grieved. I had healed. And now, finally, I was free. I stepped outside, inhaling the crisp evening air. The world felt different, lighter somehow. I thought back to who I was before Sonya, before the heartbreak. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't looking back. Sonya may have broken my heart, but she did not break me. And that was the best revenge of all.